Hey guys, today I am super excited to check out this lens. This is the Sony 85mm f1.8, which many of you have suggested that I check out. I've been reading a lot about this lens, and in general, people seem to love this thing. So let's check it out. I'm going to be using it on my A6000, even though it is a full frame lens. Let's check out how it comes packaged first. Alright, so here is the box that the lens comes in. As you can see, the orange box from Sony. It is not very large at all. I was expecting it to be big for some reason. But SEL85F18, FE85, full frame obviously, and you can see that in the corner. Not much different here around the back, circular aperture, and this does come with a lens hood. Pop this open. So you get typical Sony fashion, all of your user manuals and warranty information on the side. Here is the lens hood that's included. See the model number, just plastic Sony logo on one side. And finally the lens. So it does have some width to it. Plastic lens cap on the front. Look at that giant piece of glass. That is awesome. And around the back, let me take this cap off. Around the front, FE1885. Minimum focusing distances are 0.8 of a meter, 2.63 feet, and 67mm filter thread. Around the back, you can see E-mount. This is cut out for a full frame, and you can see the aperture blades nice and large in there. Around the side, you have autofocus and manual focus switch, and then FE1885. Very nice looking. There it is, Sony. Focus ring is super duper smooth, very large, very well made. This feels light. Honestly, it feels like it should weigh maybe twice as much as it does, but it is a very well built lens. So I'm excited to mount this on the A6000 and see what we get. And this is the lens mounted on my A6000. So look at that front piece of glass, just amazing every single time that you look at it. It's just huge, and you could see just how much light this lens will let in. Nice coating on the front, very green. It is a wide lens, so if it's not something that you're used to, just be prepared for it. But it's not very heavy. It obviously does make the camera a little bit more front heavy, but it's not terrible at all. I'd say it looks pretty cool on the camera. It's not too crazy cumbersome, and for an 85mm lens, this is very compact. So this is an 85mm lens, which means it's really ideal for portraits. Now, when you are using it on a crop sensor camera, such as the A6000, it is equivalent to a 130mm focal length, which means inside, it is going to be really difficult to try to use this lens. But outside, where you have space to back away from the subject, this should generate some pretty impressive results. Let's find out with some sample photos and videos. So that is it for the sample photos and videos. This thing is a lot of fun to use. I am very, very impressed by it. I like this lens a whole lot. Didn't expect to like it really as much as I do. Now, like I said in the beginning, it's 85 millimeters, so it's pretty tough to try to do anything inside. It's really tight, so if you're trying to take a picture of something in a smaller room, even in a large room, it's going to be really zoomed in at 130 millimeter equivalent focal length. But outside, this thing is super nice. Autofocus on this lens is silent, super fast, and very accurate. It works amazing on the A6000 and on my A6500. Comparing this autofocus to that on the Sony 50mm f1.8, this lens is quicker. I would say it is on par with the Sony 35mm f1.8 as far as focus quickness and accuracy. When you switch to manual focus, the focus ring feels really good. However, all of the focusing is done electronically internally. So even though it's silent, it's not a mechanical focus. Optically, the images that I got from this lens really blew me away. They are super sharp. The bokeh is super creamy. And overall, I was very impressed with the image quality. This is an amazing portrait lens. And while you do have to step back a ways to get your subject, if you're trying to do like a waist up shot, if you're just trying to do headshots, this is an amazing, amazing lens. It seems to be very sharp, wide open at f1.8. Flaring is well controlled, and there is little to no distortion that I noticed using this thing. The colors look great on this thing, and when I took a look at some of the headshots that I took with it, I was very impressed with just the overall visual appearance. There's nice subject separation as you would expect, and overall the images coming out of this were, in my opinion, way nicer looking than that coming out of the Sony 50mm f1.8. Now, as far as drawbacks, I only have 3 with this lens. Number 1, it does not have optical stabilization. So if you're using it on an A6000, something that doesn't have built-in stabilization, you just have to be very stable with your shots or use a tripod. Now on the A6500 with IBIS, this thing obviously is amazing, and the camera does a very good job of compensating for those small shakes and jitters. The second thing is switching to manual focus. While I understand that lenses are headed in that direction, everything's being controlled electronically these days, at times it's nice to have a lens with that tactile, mechanical focus feel when you are in the mood to switch over from autofocus to manual focus. With this lens, however, I was shooting with autofocus on about 95% of the time anyway. And the third thing is this is a full frame lens, so in theory, you're not getting the best optical performance. Think of it as you have a giant lens opening like this, which is a full frame lens. On a crop sensor camera, you are getting just the center portion of that lens as far as lines of resolution. I do have to admit though that that is a very nitpicky point, and once you pick up this lens and use it to take some photos, I don't think you're going to be pixel peeping, and even if you are pixel peeping, you're not going to be disappointed, or at least I was not disappointed when I zoomed in and took a look at 100% crops with photos with this lens. So who is this lens for? Really, it's for someone who's looking for an excellent outdoor lens, great for portraits, headshots. It also does a good job with just landscapes. If you're looking for an action semi-telephoto lens, I could see you using this with like soccer games and that sort of thing. It's not going to give you the versatility of zooming in or out, but it's going to be at f1.8, so it's going to give you much sharper and clearer images. It's also not super bulky. For an 85mm lens, this is pretty compact. It's lightweight, easy to take with you on trips, and overall, a very impressive little package there. So as you could probably tell, I really like this lens a lot. I think it is a great purchase. If you look at this lens as an investment later on, if you ever decide to upgrade to a full frame Sony camera, you can take this lens with you and use it on your new camera. The image quality is at a level that is much higher than the purchase price of this thing, so I do highly recommend it. If you guys are interested in checking out more information about this lens, I'll post a link down to Amazon below. As always, thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all of the likes, comments, and support. Let me know what you guys think of this thing. Have you had any experience with it? Always interested in reading your comments. Stay tuned for more. Thank you, and bye-bye.